It's now time.
I'm so excited.
Oh no! I do love you, but
oh, it's so wrong. I gotta go. I got something new. Not as exciting as this. I'll tell you that right now, but.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Survivor Now podcast, and welcome to our AU versus the World recaps. My name is Ollie, and today I am joined by the lovely Matthew and the lovely Bruce, with apparently a very special guest just there. And we will be recapping episode 4 of Survivor AU versus the World. First things first, Matthew and Bruce, how are you both doing?
Matthew, you can go first.
I'm great. I've never been better in my life. Thanks for asking, Ollie. I really appreciate it.
That's what I'm here for. And Bruce, how are you?
I'm doing great. You know, I'm sitting here talking to you guys a couple minutes ago. I'm like, what? Something's wrong. And then my light's off. So now I put my light on. Now I feel so much better about myself. You got to look fabulous in the morning. But good. Today is actually, just to let the world know, my 23rd wedding anniversary.
Congratulations!
Oh, congratulations!
See the dedication that I gave to you people watching Survivor and loving this, whether it be AU versus the world or, you know, season 49 coming up. I'm giving you all that I got.
I love that. I feel like that's been the thing this year, because I streamed on my 30th birthday this year. You stream now during that. So, Matthew, you've got to figure out a time when it's a special moment.
I'm taking off.
I love that. But we are here, as I said, we're going to be recapping episode 4. Just a reminder, the live chat is open, so go give your thoughts in the live chat. We've already got Zach in there saying Happy Waffle Day and National Peach Pie Day. Did not realise. And Blood Money is in the chat saying hi to us. Make sure to share your chat because we have got everything to talk about today, because this episode was exciting. I loved this episode. There was some cute twists that were going on. There was some drama that was happening. Maybe not all for the best for me. But we will get started, because how we go is, bless old little Sarah. We see at the start of this episode, she's feeling a little bit worried. She is getting some weird vibes from Kirby, and she goes and confides in Janine. And obviously, she says that she's worried about Kirby. She's really not sure. And then ultimately, she backtracks and says, no, I want to do Shawnee. Matthew, I want to get your opinion on this first. What did you think of this moment?
I am a little disappointed in the storytelling. I don't want to say I'm disappointed in Sarah, because I just don't understand what happened between the last vote out and now to make Sarah feel this intensely about Kirby not trusting her anymore. I mean, I don't know what changed. I mean, they did show that one clip of Kirby. Like, I think Sarah was like, "Oh, do you want me to come with you?" And Kirby was like, "No, I'm good." But I was like, "Is that it? Was that as much as it was to make her feel this confused about Kirby's trust in her?" I don't know. The whole thing was concerning, but it definitely led to a lot of fun, I will say.
Yeah, it definitely led to a lot of fun. Bruce, as someone that has played this game, have you got any thoughts of why this may have happened? Obviously, as Matthew said, we didn't really see much in the storytelling, but let's see what maybe you could shed light on.
The main thing here is that someone could literally be sitting there talking to you, walk away and talk to someone else, and you're straight paranoid. Oh my God, they're talking about me. They're going to vote me off. You could have had the greatest conversation about personal life. You could have had a conversation about, you know, the game, this and the other, and all of a sudden they walk away, and that little thing in the back of your head is like, wait a minute. Did I say something wrong? And even with Kirby saying that, like, you know, nah, we're good. Oh my God, what does that mean? What do you mean when you say that? Like,
yeah.
And that paranoia, once that kicks in, unless you know how to handle it, you're screwed. You are definitely screwed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, we all know me. I am the Sarah defender on this show. I feel like, obviously, Sarah has been very loyal these first couple of episodes. That's what she's wanted to show in the votes. And I think where the vote hasn't necessarily gone the way she's wanted, I think that started to put the paranoia in her head of, well, where do I stand with Kirby truly? Because this is I'm meant to like feel like she's got my best interests at heart, but we're always voting people that maybe she would prefer over who I prefer. So I think maybe that's where it was, because ultimately she did say, no, I want to stick to Shonny. That was what my gut is saying. I still want to show this loyalty to Kirby. And I think she was venting to Janine, and I felt like she maybe felt like she could trust Janine. But clearly she couldn't, because Janine... Oh, sorry, you go, Matthew?
No, I mean, I'm like yes anding you here, because she's voted on the opposite side of Janine this whole game. So I don't understand why this information felt safe to tell Janine, someone who was clearly on the bottom based on the votes. And of course, Janine takes this information to Luke. It's very valuable to the two of them. So it was very odd. It was a very odd choice. Of course, you know, I'm not a player. I'm not there. I don't know. But as a viewer, I felt that this was an odd move.
Yeah. When I saw this scene of Janine and Luke, and I saw them discussing what Sarah had said, to me, I thought it was going to be, right, they see that Sarah isn't sure. Let's bring in Sarah. Like, she's clearly not feeling like she can fully trust Kirby and Shonny, maybe because it doesn't seem like they have her best interest. But instead, in this conversation, they go, well, let's go tell Kirby what Sarah said. Bruce, what did you think of that? Because I thought it was going to be, well, let's pull in the one person, but instead they've gone, no, let's pull in Kirby.
I think because the two of them are in a good position, they might want Kirby to be with them. You know what I mean? Just kind of to build up a little bit more of an alliance, you know, whether it be short-lived or not. And then have it so the ammunition is set, and when the time comes to vote Sarah out, if that's what they want to do. So again, it turns into the situation. This is something that they can now hold against Sarah by going to Kirby. And then once that seed is sowed, even if it's a lie, once it's sowed, you're done. Like, again, aka the paranoia aspect of it all. But these two working like that and going to Kirby like that, to me, it made a lot of sense. She's unaware. So now maybe then the thought process could be that Kirby goes over to Sarah and maybe eases her mind a little bit. And then all of a sudden now you got potential 4 or 5 people working together, 4 people working together. So now it's a completely different like scenario where you're running the table once a merge happens. So I don't know. I think they should have maybe gone to Sarah and brought her in, but I think for me the smarter play was go to Kirby. You know,
I would agree that this was the smarter play on their end. I think that they, Luke and Janine, I think that they assessed the situation correctly. We even saw in the scene before this with Sarah that she was wishy-washy about should I go after Kirby or not? But I feel like Janine and Luke both realized that the person to commit to voting out an ally is Kirby. So I feel like that the two of them assessed the situation where they were like, okay, if we need to get to the top, what is our best path to get there? And that's something that Janine has been very good at, especially like watching her first season. She always talks about percentages. She sees the game in percentages. What's going to get her one step forward? What is the most likely scenario? So I thought that this was a correct assessment on their point.
I obviously, for me, I was like, no, go with Sarah, just because. But I definitely agree with you, Matthew, in the sense of like, Janine is a very smart player. Again, everyone seemed to underestimate her at the start, and I really didn't get why. Because, like, again, we've both seen Champions versus Contenders. We know why she's called the Godmother. I just want to get a chat out here from Harvard. I really hope I said your name correctly. Sarah's storyline this season has been fascinating to watch, and I do agree. It's been great to watch, just because I love watching it. But we see from here that Janine goes and tells Kirby. For me, what I found interesting was she was very selective in what she said. And again, this is completely from the edit. We don't know what every single thing Janine said was, but what we do see is Janine says, oh, Sarah was worried about you. And I appreciate Janine on that case, because that's what Sarah said. I'm worried about Kirby. Like, I just don't know where I stand. She never mentions about saying that Sarah's still thinking Shawnee, but obviously with this, then Kirby starts to have, I don't want to say like doubts in Sarah, but it does just seem like Kirby splits like that. I have feelings and opinions on that, but I want to get both of yours opinions. Matthew, you first as a Kirby stan. What did you think of this moment?
Well, what I absolutely loved about this moment, I mean, I we'll see what happens in the future, but I'm concerned for Kirby. Like, I feel like this is, I don't know. I hope that she's able to see through the Janine and Luke thing of them being on the bottom and trying to like work their way to the top. I hope that she's able to recognize that. Yeah. Obviously, information is good information. I agree with you. I think Janine did a fabulous job navigating how she was going to get this information across to Kirby. Janine's in the business world, and there is something in the corporate world called CYA, which is called cover your ass. And I think that Janine, it like really utilized that very well in this game, where I feel like this information, I don't feel like things can come back to bite her in the way that she delivered this information to Kirby. So that's what I thought of this moment. I mean, we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. For me, what struck me was obviously Kirby did say, I will always trust someone until you give me a reason not to. And for me, I was just a bit shocked in the sense of like, Kirby just took the information and believed it. Like, Kirby just went, yeah, that's fine. And I felt like, knowing Kirby from Titans versus Rebels, I know she's able to figure it out first before just going on the assumption. And to me, this felt like she was kind of basing it just on no proof of her own. She was just taking Janine's word. And that kind of frustrated me in the sense of like, you've seen Sarah's actions go, like, she's voted with you twice, she's stuck with you, she's wanted to do all this. And then Janine comes up to you and goes, oh, well, she was worried about you. And I felt like we never saw kind of Kirby try and figure it out for herself. She kind of just took Janine's word. So I was a bit like, oh.
I mean, I think there's a timing thing. It's an episode that they're trying to edit down. And obviously, as we know later in the episode, this is not the tribe that ends up voting someone out at the end of the day. So I feel like for simplicity of the story reason, I think that's kind of the reason why we didn't spend too much time seeing Kirby navigate this information. Maybe in a future episode, we'll see, but it didn't bother me as much.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce, go for it.
Sorry, I want to apologize for that. My phone was going off. I'm like, no! But just in being someone that's played the game, if you guys remember season 45 or whatever, there was a moment in time where there was a potential game plan that was going, and then I had a conversation with Emily, and Emily came to me and said that Mama J is not working with me. Mama J wants to vote me out. So with no backing whatsoever, even after having a great conversation with Mama J earlier in the day, I was like, what, she wants what? Okay. All right, that's the way she wants to play it. And then I came up with a plan to be able to try to get her voted out. Unbeknownst to me, it was not true. It was just a ploy to get me out of the game. And that was it. Like, so when, Kirby got that information, she got it and it was like, oh, okay. Like, no need for backing at this point in time in the game. When you hear that not so much that her name is being thrown out there, but when you hear that, because Janine didn't give her any information saying that, oh yeah, she wants to go on this and the other. She just gave her exact information. She's doesn't know how she stands with you. What do you mean? That could mean a million things to someone that's sitting there playing the game, a little hunger, or sleep deprived, hunger deprived, and it's just like, okay, so she said my name, that's it, done. I don't need to trust her anymore. So that's firsthand. I understand exactly what it is, why Kirby's mental went there. So
we're definitely going to see more of this, and I'm intrigued to see how this is going to affect kind of Kirby and Sarah, because I feel like it's definitely going to affect both of them. It just depends on who it gets affected more. But let's move over to the World Tribe now, because the girlies were girling, shall we say. The girls felt very good. They could feel the energy of themselves, and they wanted to kind of break away and have a little bit of a alliance meeting. They wanted a Black Widow brigade. So they wanted to decide who they wanted to target this round in case they went to tribal. And what was interesting here was obviously Poverty was very much like, let's go for Tommy, because she wanted Tony's shield. But you have Cass and Lisa who were very much, no, let's go for Tony. He's a bit more of a wild card. We know that he can be more spontaneous and chaotic. And we kind of had Suri in the middle just listening. I loved Suri in this scene because I felt like she was observing and listening and taking everything in terms of dynamics. Bruce, what did you think of this conversation?
I love the conversation just because you can look at it from a standpoint of, you know, the U.S. against the other international players. Like that's a definite part of it. But then, like you just said, you dig in a little bit deeper, which I fully agree with. Tony's a wild card. You know, we don't know what he's going to do. We don't know what he's going to throw out there. We don't know when he gets to the merge how he's going to build an alliance with other people. You know, because he's on the Mount Rushmore of Survivor. Like, honestly, they need to really understand that. And I think that the conversations back and forth, I was really thinking that was going to be the end of the Black Widow Brigade, you know, 2.0, because they were going like the back and forth. But then again, Suri hopped in and said, this is an initial conversation. We're just talking about this. And then we'll think about it and come to an agreement later on. Something, you know, to paraphrase it a little bit. So she did the right thing in doing that, but everybody else is kind of seeing their own motives and they're trying to come to a happy middle. And hopefully at this point in time, they can get to that. But as of that moment, I was thinking there's a little tense because not for nothing, every single time when there's, you know, except for once when there's an all-female alliance, it usually falls apart. It usually falls straight apart and it never comes to fruition. But, you know, this looks like it's going to be strong because they're level-headed a little bit. So looking forward to it.
I completely agree with you there. All very level-headed. And I like your little nod to Suri there because I do think she was very much the voice of reason. And I think that's why she is such a great player, because she is able to switch on that voice of reason and be like, right, let's just be like, she shows that she can be the most level-headed person, which then makes everyone else feel more calm.
Yeah. Obviously, you notice real quick too, like when she was saying what was she doing? Like nobody really, like, you can pick up on this. What she was doing with a smile on her face, like that big laugh she had at the very beginning of this conversation, and then all of a sudden it was like she had a smile on her face, like let's you know, da da da, and she got a smile, like, but she's just looking at you dead in your eyes, and it's like, wait a minute, okay, she's smiling too. So okay, Mama Suri, I got you.
I mean, it is. Her reputation is valid at so much. Matthew, what did you think about all this?
I feel like Suri and Parvati had the best energies to balance each other out. And maybe that's just because of their familiarity with each other, which I'm sure is a huge component of this. But they're almost like in sync in terms of this like good cop, bad cop sort of dynamic. Whereas Parvati is a little bit harder on pitching the ideas, and Suri is the one there for Cass and Lisa to be like, no, we're still on your side. Like, no, I'm still on your side. No, like, we should really consider this. And I feel like I loved seeing Suri in this space. And then if I was Cass and Lisa in this moment, I feel like the card that I was sort of expecting them to play, and they may have said it in a confessional, but I'm not really remembering, is, hi, we took out one of the international players first. I think you can, you know, throw us a bone here, and you can obviously see where we're coming from, which is we're going to be super outnumbered if we get rid of Tommy.
Yes.
So I'm sort of expecting them to make that deal with Suri and Parvati, and I was sort of expecting, I mean, listen, I don't think Parvati and Suri should have been the ones to say like, oh, you know, you let us do this before, we're happy to do this now. But I think that, I wonder if they were expecting to have to get rid of Tony in order to appease this alliance.
I feel like that's definitely Yes, on Sari. I definitely think Sari had had those thoughts. I think Parvati, I think she felt a bit more comfortable. She felt like, okay, I have this control here. So I felt like she maybe almost felt like she could play ringleader. She could kind of call the shots. And I think when you've then got someone like Cass and even Lisa, but I would say more so Cass in this moment, who is very much, no, let's look at all of this here. I think that's where we're going to see the power dynamic at play. I will say Cass and Lisa did both bring up the fact that obviously like they had both been working with Tommy. They had a great relationship with Tommy as opposed to Tony. So I think that's where they maybe had brought in the international thing. I know they hadn't explicitly said like, hey, we voted out Rob, you tit for tat. So it's going to be interesting to see how this dynamic goes. I do think they have the potential to work very well together. It's just going to be whether it can be a collaboration and not just here's how what I'm thinking. Here's how I'm going to make you all convince you all to do this. If it can be a collaboration, I think this four are going to be iconic.
Yeah, I think that with the Parvati, like having the the community idol, like no, it's not. It's Parvati's. It's in her pocket, so she's emboldened that way, which is fine. Like you can feel that way. You're playing with house money at this point in time, and it just gets even worse. Like later on, I know we'll talk about it, but it's like, would it be the same attitude towards the decision without having the key to that box, now having the immunity out in your pocket? Like, so it's just look through that yourself and kind of get an idea of what your thoughts are on it. So but I think there's a little bit more chutzpah, if you will, to be able to say here's what we're going to do.
And to be fair, I feel like we can kind of see that with Cass as well, because at this point, Cass has her idol that no one knows about.
Yes.
That's why I think she's kind of putting her foot down in the sense of, well, I have my opinion as well, and it's not just the Americans. No shade to you guys, but it's one of those. The Americans are already going to come in thinking they can call the shots. Well, do you know what? Us Quebecs, we can be just as forceful in our opinions, but we will have to wait to see how that all shakes down. Because
I'm so happy that Cass was able. I'm happy that Cass was someone to find an immunity idol, because, like you said, Ollie and Bruce, like it freed her up to play at the same level as some of the other players who were more persistent with their ideas and thoughts. And I just think that it's good to level the playing field a little bit.
I got you. I agree.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Well, let's see how the playing field goes, because we have an immunity challenge. But it's not just as simple as that. They're playing for individual immunity. So as we see, there's two lovely individual immunity necklaces there. And for this challenge, they have to hold up a block using just their feet onto that small narrow pole, holding on to their structure. I need to ask you both first, Matthew, Bruce, how do you think you would have done in this challenge? Do you think you would have done amazing? Do you think you would have done good? Do you think you would have done okay? Do you think you would have been like Luke?
I think I would have done Lisa. I think I would have sat out. No, it would have been over for me in like the first. I'm going to be generous and say first minute. I'm going to give myself that at least. But this is painful.
Bruce.
So all right, I love the idea of this freaking challenge. The challenge was awesome. It's great. Like they got their legs up, they're holding on to the blocks, and then all of a sudden now they're doing the Macarena. Like they just got all sorts of things all over the place. Like, yo, that is just the stupidest shit in the entire world. Like once we start doing all the other dances and stuff and taking arms and putting arms here, dropping a leg down, like Simon says, that's when you would have lost me. Like I think one leg on the block, one hanging off, arm over here while you're holding a margarita. Rita! It just doesn't make any sense to me. But there was so much going on. And like, man, if they're going to sit there with their hands on the side for 2.5, 3 hours, who gives a damn? They ain't doing nothing else. They're just going to go back to camp and just sit there and chill. But I thought it was very interesting. I would have been gone within They call it 3 minutes. I got horrible hip flexes, so I just would have been like, yeah, no, I'm out. Bye.
Do you know what I would have felt? I think I don't know. I have never done this challenge, but I think I would have done okay. I think once the hands went here, that's where I would have been like, oh no. That's where I would have felt myself going, oh, that's where I'm in trouble. Hands, I think I would have been fine. But then when it's here and it's all your core, my core has decreased within these last couple of years. So I know I wouldn't have been holding on that long. With this challenge, though, we did see a little strategic moment from Kirby and Parvati, who they're right next to each other and they go, oh, I want to work with you. I like you. What did we think of this moment? Because it's the first time we've seen kind of Kirby put herself out there to one of the world players and be like, okay, I'm going to start my kind of cross-tribaling now. Do we think this was a good move on Kirby's part?
If Parvati keeps her mouth shut, yeah. All right.
So it depends.
This just it's nothing again. Like I'm not saying like in a bad way, like keep your mouth shut up. But I'm just being like, if Parvati now knows, all right, now I have someone on the other side to be able to work with. You don't need to tell the people that are on your world tribe.
Yeah.
But once you get over there, all right, so now you can dive deep and say, okay, Kirby, who you working with? How do you feel? This and the other. This is what I got now. This is what we have going. Like once if Parvati goes back and says, hey, we got someone to talk to on the other side. If I'm an international player, I'm just like, hold up. You are now getting way too powerful because now you're already across lines and you have someone that's there that's like a mole for you. Nope, can't have it. You got to go. Because remember, it's a zero-sum game and it's all about you doing what you need to do to win this game. And if you're going to try to take that away from me, I got to find a way to get you going. So any little thing, again, go right back to what I said earlier. The paranoia sets in real quick. Any little thing will get you to be like, nah, you got to go. And that's a huge, huge thing to get you to go.
Yeah, I think in many ways that's sort of what painted a bigger target on Rob in the beginning of the season, which was the fact that Parvati was vocal about the fact that he was chatting with David, like across tribe lines. But I love the move. I think that this is great. 16-day game. I even loved when David did it, like in a 16-day game where you can have moments of like, I mean, the Aussies do it like every season. It's one of my favorite things about Australian Survivor is the like cross-tribe communication and storylines that go on. So I think in a 16-day game, it makes absolute sense to try to work something out with someone across the lines in anticipation of the merge.
Yeah, but remember what you said, though. That's in the Aussie game, not in everybody else's game.
Right.
Everybody else's game, it's like, yo, what did you just do? You talk to someone on Reba? Oh, hell no. You're done. You know what I mean? Like, that's a little different, so.
Well, I mean, I want to bring up Chris Dixon's just posted in the chat, hey, Chris, which I think is actually quite a smart thing. Yeah, nothing wrong with people doing these communications. I just feel like it has to be kept subtle. And that I completely agree with. You can have the cross-tribaling, absolutely, as long as you just kind of do it on the slide. Just totally do it like that.
Yeah.
But obviously, this challenge went on a while. We saw it become a showdown. Was there anything else for either of you that stood out during this challenge that you kind of want to touch on?
I just like how Bruce called it the Macarena towards the end, because it got to the point where I was like, what else are you going to have them do? Because it was like Parvati and Cass were sort of the last ones. Well, who won it for Sarah? Sarah won it for the Aussies. So that congratulations, Sarah. But I think that the deal that Cass and Parvati struck up was interesting.
Yes.
I think seeing Cass not cave into it right away was also very interesting. And I wonder, again, going back to Bruce's point before, I wonder if that would have been a different story if she did not have the idol already in her possession. I wonder if she would have taken that deal a lot sooner. But I was just going to say, but I think, well, I'm interested to see how this deal plays out.
Yes. And do you know what? On that deal, I really respected Cass for saying no. Straight, because Parvati said endurance for endurance, but how is Parvati going to be able to like know for sure that it's going to be them two in the next endurance challenge.
True.
She can't, because it could be something that Parvati's not that good at and goes first, and then it's Cass and someone else, and then Cass is there going, well, I made this deal to Parvati, but not to this person. So I respected Cass for kind of just saying no, because that deal in itself, she couldn't, at that moment, it was kind of one of those, well, I have a chance of winning this one, and I like that deal can't be fully like concrete. That's not a concrete deal that can be made.
No.
Now, when she did it towards the end of it, yeah, I can respect that, because it's like, well, if I am going to drop, I might as well get a deal out of it. So I think when she did it was perfect. I do feel like Cass did a really great job. Bruce, anything else you want to mention?
Yes. The amount of noises that were coming out of I can't. I'm just
Luke.
I almost said something else's name. The amount of noises that came out of Luke's face, like, dude, cut it out. Like, I understand it's painful, but and I know that maybe the editing added more in there, but I'm just like, bro, like if I was sitting there with my legs up, again, they were well before all that, but like it's painful. Like I'm lifting my legs right down in my chair, and I'm like, wow, all right, my core just engaged. It kind of hurt. But it's like everybody's going through it. Stop.
Do you know what? For me, it was Cass also saying, "Is someone giving birth down there?"
Yeah.
That was hilarious to me. Like Cass just has these little subtle one-liners that I absolutely love. Before
I love JLP laughing at Luke right in the face. Like that was great. I love JLP. I know we didn't really talk about it before. I love JLP. I'm gonna miss JLP.
Same.
It's so sad to me that this is his last season, but yeah, we'll keep going.
But the silver lining is, what an incredible season to finish on. Like that legacy is that. I guess that's the silver lining. But I agree. I'm very sad.
Yeah.
One moment or one person I want to give credit to before we finish this up is Sari. Because Sari is not known as a challenge beast. Everyone always like puts Sari down as someone that, oh, she's never that strong. She lasted she was the third to last person. She finished technically third place in this challenge. So I really want to give Sari her credit in this, because she beat all of the Aussies. She beat both of the guys, and the only people she didn't beat were Parvati and Cass. So I do just want to give Sari her flowers in that sense of she killed that challenge for someone that everyone always says, oh, she's not a challenge threat. She's not a challenge beast. I was like, girl's got this.
She did great. And I wonder if everyone else, like as you can see here, I wonder if all the other players were jealous that Sari was in the shade.
Oh my God.
Excellent. That's the perfect spot.
Yes.
Amen. Amen.
But obviously, we do have two winners to this challenge, and that is Parvati and Sarah. They both won. I do just want to bring this up because we made predictions at the end of last episode. Bruce, do you remember the two people that you said?
I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning.
I can confirm that you got 0 out of 2. You said Tony and Kirby. Now...
They let me down.
Yeah, now Cara did say Sarah, Caroline did say Parvati, and I did say Sarah. So we all got 1 point there. But I will say that I was the only other person to pick a second place person. So that's what I'm going to say. But congratulations to both Parvati and Sarah. They have won immunity. I was really happy for Sarah, not just because I am her stan, but this was her first immunity win ever. I do believe she
nice.
has one individual immunity. So I really appreciated that. I'm just quickly going to the chat. Foff, I want to hope I said your name, Foff. JLP had a great moment this episode when he told Tony, nice try, and then shook his hand. And then Chris also said, yeah, absolutely. She only lost to 2 people who are really great at challenges, talking about Sari there. And he also says, Uncle Bruce, you had bacon and eggs for breakfast, apparently. How did Chris know?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I had some hot sauce on it too. Now I remember.
But obviously, now we will go back to the tribes because we have got a lot of strategizing and talking to do here because they've got to figure out who they're going to vote for. But before we get to that, we're going to take a short break, and then we are going to talk about the pre-tribal, the tribal shenanigans, and who got voted out of this episode.
Do you have what it takes to outwit, outplay, and outlast? Katie does. Since 2015, she's been handcrafting Survivor treasures for superfans just like you. Hidden immunity idols, she's got them. From one world to the Philippines. Every piece is designed and created by Katie herself. Check this out. Katie's brand new tribe emblem coin, a collectible inspired by Survivor All-Stars, a must-have for any superfan. Keychains, oh yeah. Ride along with Keith's legendary tuk-tuk or try your luck with the do or die twist. What is that, the most famous stick in Survivor history? Yes, that stick. Katie doesn't stop at idols. Oh no, she's even bringing in international flavor with an Australian Survivor cookie idol twist. Idol nullifier, safe or not safe, she's got them too. How about something you can actually wear to tribal? Katie's Survivor earrings are hot right now. Want your idols on the go? How about keychains? Take your tribe with you everywhere. And don't forget Katie's most famous Survivor product, Survivor trading cards. Fans love them, and so do the players. With over 500 cards and full stats on the back, you can collect your favorites from every season, including the full jury from Survivor 48. Katie Tedesco Art is the Survivor super fan shop, made by a fan for the fans since 2015. Check it out now on Etsy.com and follow her on Instagram at Katie Tedesco Art.
You see it right there. Go follow her, Katie Tedesco Art. She is amazing. But we are now back with the Aussie tribe, who are having their discussion on who they think should go, what they think is going to happen. And Shani makes a very good point about what happened in All Stars.
Yeah.
Matthew, did you think that was going to be the case? Did you think that Shani was right on the money?
I thought that because they were showing them explaining what happened on All Stars, I knew that they were going to switch it up somehow. I did think it was going to be fire making, but I couldn't make the connection of like what ended up happening. So I think they were right. They were correct in what they were assuming. This whole thing was a very interesting twist on the twist, which was, but I'm glad that this tribe, and it's so funny because we see the difference between this tribe and then the other tribe who, unless they watched All Stars Australia, have no clue what the heck might even happen at a tribal council. So I like that this tribe was a bit more confident and like, yeah, this is pretty much it.
Yeah, I really did appreciate that. Bruce, you go.
Tony said something. He's like, I didn't pick up on it. Tony's like, someone will go home. And he's like, okay, someone, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean? And that just goes to show they took that piece from Australian Survivor, and which not a lot of people from the US watch it, which they should, because it's absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. But that twist, when that twist came in, Aussies knew about it. The world team did not. And it kind of threw like for them, the Aussies, they're perfectly fine. Like they go, all right, it's gonna happen. Like somebody's gonna go. Now you start figuring it out. But for the international tribe, the world tribe, I don't think they really knew the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
And then when they heard about it, which we'll talk about later, when they heard about it, they're like, oh, okay. I love it. I love the conversation they have, because when they started talking about that, because I unfortunately did not see that. But when they started talking about it, that is absolutely amazing. They need to bring it to the US Survivor. They got to figure out a way to be able to have somebody, voted out of their tribe. But then they get, if they win, they go back. How much chaos and hell does that make? Like, how much drama comes out of that? So I'm very interested to see if US Survivor is going to take a little page out of the book here and put that in.
They should.
Yeah.
It was so good.
No shade to Survivor US, but it would be such great TV. I know that the Americans would have a field day with that in terms of the drama and all the dramatics. Like, definitely.
Yeah, we got a lot of shows that give drama, so this will just be an icing on the cake.
Exactly. But obviously, we do see during this discussion that, Shani is kind of explaining everything, and she mentions she's good at fire. Would you ever at some point, knowing that you're confident that fire is being discussed as an option for the tribal, would you say, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at fire? Or would you just shut up about fire? I would not say a lick. I would not turn around here and be like, I could easily make fire. Matthew, you're giving me a face. What's this face for?
No, like I'm trying to figure out what I would do because I don't think that I would because I also imagine that they're anticipating the All Stars twist, which is one of them gets voted out and then has to make fire against the person from the other tribe who also was voted out, and then the loser of that goes home. So I feel like with that in mind, I would never, put myself out there. I think my approach would be like, to not say anything and really if anyone asks me, be like, I'm not that great at fire, because in the chance that I do get voted out and do have to make fire, at least I am confident in my own abilities, and I'm not like working up, living up to something that I said like, oh yeah, I'm great. I think with what the twist ended up being, it's okay to say like, I'm good at fire, put me in, but there's always a risk. It's pretty much the way I looked at it was like a second immunity challenge right there,
Yeah. Before we go on to the next slide, I do just want to say I've just clocked Kirby in the background of this.
You just clocked Kirby?
I clocked her, but I was proper looking at her, going like, she's fully like just in the background, like, what's going on, you two? What are you two talking about there?
It's funny you mentioned that because I remember watching this and seeing Kirby in the back, like giving that, like, oh, look, like I can hear everything you're saying, and I also noticed that she did something that is, let's see, what's the word I want to look for? Taboo. When you get rice and you drop rice, you gotta pick that shit up and eat it. Like I was watching, she dropped rice and she looked down and she's like, oh, I dropped rice, and she just kept listening to the conversation. I was like, no, pick up the rice and eat it. You got a 5-second rule.
What's the rule? Exactly. But obviously, moving on, we see that Shani mentions Janine's name. Shani has gone, let's go for Janine. She feels good with Sarah and Kirby. But Luke and Janine are like, no. Like, especially Luke. Luke's like, no, I don't really want to go for Janine. We've made a pact. We're a ride or die here. And they approach Kirby and say, us three can work really well together. We see that happening because at this point, Kirby's upset because she wanted to go for Sarah. Now, this is, again, where I was a bit like, this is where I felt like Kirby had a little bit of tunnel vision strategically. We all know I love Kirby. But she really wanted to go for Sarah at this point. And I was like, but you didn't give her a chance. But anyway, that was my run over. We see here that both of them pitch Shani to Kirby. What did you think of this moment? Because, again, for me, Kirby has said like she's loyal, she wants to like play with her people, but now she's entertaining going with Luke and Janine at this point and kind of going, right, I've got this secret relationship with Shani, but there's this. What do we think? Obviously, I know there was a lot else going on later on, but Bruce, I want to get your reactions first.
Again, she got some information in the middle of the night from Janine, and now, like most people that play this game, there's a gravitation towards these people because you just gave me information. It's going to help me along in this game. Like, you're looking out for me and also yourselves, but you're looking out for me. Fine. Now you have me. Now I'm here with you. And that's kind of one of those things that doesn't happen all the time, but it makes it's easy for people to be able to move because you have to find a home somewhere. You got to trust someone, and somehow, some way. And a little slight bit of information, whether it be true or false, there you go. You make your move and you go over to where you're wanted, and I don't want to say respected, but you're wanted in that scenario, and you're going to be taken care of. So you think?
Yeah, definitely. Matthew, have you got any thoughts on this before we move over to the World Tribe?
No, honestly, I think because this tribe ends up being not the tribe to vote someone out, I kind of forget this interaction. I think it was also kind of smoke and mirrors, to be completely honest. I don't think that, especially because Kirby was so focused on Sarah at this moment, I don't think that Shani was really an option for her. I can't, I wasn't there, but I think it was just kind of like a smoke and mirrors thing.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll have to wait and see later on in a future episode, because we're going to the World Tribe, who things were definitely a bit more chaotic, shall we say, in this pre-tribal discussion, because the girls were still deciding what they wanted to do. And what I found really funny was, well, not funny, but I thought was a good thing on Tony, where Tony was like, I can see that there are conversations being had. I'm not a part of them. So chances are the conversations are being had about me. So he tried to make sure that the girls never had a conversation alone. What did we think of this kind of moment here? And because we're going to get into all the other discussions that were had, but what did we think of this part?
Tony's doing his job.
So
He's
good.
got to do his job. Like when it was very good. But once you sit there and I can only go back to what I know. When I had the conversation with Kendra on the beach, like in my pariah, like, you know, like when you feel that people are having conversations and you're not included, or you feel that the conversations are about you, you're gonna want to find out what's going on. So, and or make sure that you're part of it without them talking to you, you know. And that's how Tony felt at this moment in time. So he read it right, but how he goes about it is, you know, that's left to smarter people than me.
Yeah, definitely. Matthew?
I feel like if Tony didn't have the reputation that he has in the game, you know, he's a 2-time winner. He's like, he knows what he's doing. And I think that Parvati and Suri, especially since Parvati has played with him before, and Suri has played with him before, Game Changers. So yeah. So I don't know if they ever interacted in that season, but they're both familiar with how he plays. Yeah. So I think that if only he like didn't have that reputation, I think the aloofness in like, I'm just here gathering sticks and I'm just cleaning the pot. Like, I feel like it almost could have worked. I really like that he attempted this, and I think it was the right thing for him to do, because it's not like it's going to paint a bigger target on his back just by, you know, being close to the conversations. But we even saw that it affected, like, I think this moment here, like Cass and Parvati were just kind of, you know, like smiling through the awkwardness of like, oh, we can't really talk right now. So I think it kind of worked.
Yeah, it definitely worked. And we did see this get Cass's it raised Cass's concerns, because at this point she's now gone to Lisa and gone, hey, I'm really not sure about this. We need to make sure that Tommy is safe. We both want Tommy. We've had this discussion in the previous one. Like, we were kind of rooting for Tommy to be the non-target and it to be Tony. And we're seeing them really say international strong. Do we see this as where we're maybe seeing the divide now within this potential kind of foursome with the girls? Because we do see in this moment Cass and Lisa also kind of say, the person that we think we can get on board here is Suri.
Yeah, I think that they're saying that of Suri for the fact that maybe they're reading the fact that, yes, let's go back to what we were talking about earlier. Suri's the peacemaker. She just wants to make sure that everybody's perfectly fine. And if you remember, I think the conversation was with Lisa. And I believe Suri said, just like you, just like me, as long as it's not me. Anybody, as long as it's not me. So that's a page out of Sandra's book, anyone but me. And they both kind of subscribe to it. So, and then also even to this photo that we're looking at now, Cass, she's her posture and her demeanor, she knows that she has an idol in her pocket. And she's kind of like laying it down, like, oh, this kind of makes the most sense. Like, and with just the interaction, and Lisa, you know, doing a great job, a Suri-like job in pulling in that information, and then kind of she's going to do what she does with it. And the solidification of if they pull Suri over and there's a decision to be made there, you heard it here first. If they're going to vote a lady out, if they're going to just try to break up this, Poverty's gone. You know, so it's either Poverty, you know, or Tommy. So
yeah, definitely. Matthew, anything to add?
Oh my God. Well, not really. I think I saw that chat come in from Cool Saint about this Black Widow alliance kind of reminds me of the Witches Coven from Brains versus Bronze 2. Two pairs trying to get their own way. Oh my goodness. Cool Saint. I hope it doesn't turn out like that, but you know, that's an interesting comparison to make.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, you see it in the sense of like, you've got like, these women are amazing. They are all very strong women who know what they want. Unfortunately, it is in this moment, two of them, or maybe one of them, see things this way, the other two see them this way. But the person who's definitely in the middle of things is Sari. Because then Cass goes to Sari and is obviously like, we can see what's happening here. We are wanting to keep Tommy and go for Tony. And Sari does do a very great job, in my opinion, of explaining the situation for us. Because she does go, right, I came in with the American players. I want to stick with the American players. However, I also don't want to alienate this bigger alliance I have, because if I get out Tony, I'm only potentially annoying Parvati. If I get out Tommy, I'm annoying Cass and Lisa. So I think Sari did a very great job at kind of explaining her situation and just the situation in general. Do either of you have anything to add to this before we kind of go on to the last slide and then get to tribal?
So to piggyback off what you just said, so yes, she's gonna aggravate Poverty, okay? But now you have Lisa, you have Cass, and you have Tommy with you. So now that's 4. Now Poverty, come on board, 5. If there's a merge coming, you have 5 going against what, 5 at this moment in time?
Yeah.
Because how many Aussies are left? There's 5 Aussies left.
Yes, 5 or 6.
Yeah, if they
So
end up
now-
coming out at this tribal.
So now, hello, let's get, Poverty. You now you reveal to everybody else that you were talking to Kirby. So now pull Kirby over, and then now run shop. So that's just one way to look at it. One way to be able to say, okay, this is another way to take over the game. So
Yes, I was curious to kind of know which direction Sari would take this in. And again, I think as a viewer, Sari is so good at Survivor, but also at television. And I feel like as a viewer, she's able to keep me guessing of like, wait, what is actually her direction here? And I think that's one of the most interesting things. I mean, we've already sort of given her flowers about this, but just to reiterate, Sari, to me, is the US player that has come into the season that really makes her game feel like a clean slate. At least to the viewers, that's what I'm sort of picking up. And I wonder if the other castaways feel that about her game as well, where I wonder if they, and I think it's working, where they feel like, oh no, like we can work Sari. Like, yes, she's a big name in the Survivor community, but it really seems like she's taking this as like a brand new game where knowing how Sari plays, I don't know if that's true. Like, I think Sari's just that good. So, I love watching her play.
No, I completely agree. I do think she is that good. Because obviously after this, her and Poverty then talk to Tony, who says, by the way, we're voting for Tommy, and Tony straight away, you. I love this picture. They told me to vote you. So you've then got Tony almost trying to make Tommy a bit paranoid here. And it's all a bit crazy, but I really do want to jump into tribal, because this is where we saw all the action. They all came together. They were all chatting and trying to figure out what was happening. And then JLP dropped the twist of, you each, like, only one tribe is going to vote tonight. They all know it's fire making, but the twist is they're going to draw rocks to decide who is going to compete for their tribe. It's a hero challenge in a sense. And the tribe that wins is safe and can go home. The losers have to vote someone out. This is where I love this twist, because it did kind of throw the Aussies off in the sense of, like, they thought they knew what was coming in, but they've kind of just modified it and twisted it a little bit to go, oh no, this is different. And I love the genuine reactions from the Aussies in that moment. And this is what I love about AU Survivor. They're able to keep even their own kind of people on their toes. You can't go into a season of Australian Survivor and kind of fully know what's going to happen, which I loved. What did we think about this twist?
I loved it. But in loving it, something somewhere in the back of my mind was like, Sari's going to be the one to draw the rock. I don't know what it was. It was like, Sari's screwed. She's going to have to draw the rock. She's going to draw the rock. There's no getting around it. And sure enough, boom, she draws the rock. Like, oh my God. But I loved it. It was cool. Like, if you can put a twist on it without, because it didn't necessarily take away from Sari's game fully. Like, it wasn't Sari being, here's a twist, you're going, bye-bye. Like, I don't like that part of Survivor, like where it takes something away. Like,
Yes.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
But with this, is like you have an opportunity to potentially make it. And hopefully you did the work prior to with your tribe so that now you don't have to worry about going home. But she had to fight for it. And, you know, like when I played and we had the auction. And yes, my fault. I didn't run around and grab cash and said and the other, but I had to then work hard to make sure that I was able to not get voted out. And I didn't, which is good. But that could have potentially been something that, you know, I have no vote, I have no say, I'm going, you know. So I don't know. I like what they did. I do like what they did a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I love the fact that it was kind of a rock draw because, in a sense, yes, it is all put on that one person, but it's been put on them through luck. So the tribe can't necessarily sit there and go, well, you cost us all this, and get kind of mad at them, because that person can then go, well, I didn't purposely draw this white rock. I didn't purposely luck put me in that position. I worked hard, I tried. So it was kind of almost this moment of, after that, there was gonna never, well, for both of the people that competed, there was never really going to be any blowback. Because it was a kind of a sense of like they got forced into that position. Matthew, have you got any thoughts?
It leaves enough room. It leaves enough wiggle room game-wise to be able to have different sorts of outcome. It's kind of this situation. Like, I wonder, I'm so curious. I would love to be a fly on the wall when production was coming up with this twist and landed on the idea of it being a rock draw. Because in some ways, it's like you don't show up to Survivor not knowing how to make fire. Right. Yeah. So like there's that element where it's like anyone who draws the rock should be able to do this. And then there's the element that you said, Ollie, which is like the person who does it isn't putting themselves in a situation where they're like, I got this team. You can count on me, because then it makes it an easy. It could make it an easier vote out if that's what ends up happening. So I feel like it was just enough for it to still be strategically interesting.
Yes.
But then think about something else. So now, when you're watching, and then you know the flag pops, and you know Cerise sitting there. If you look to the right of your screen. I'm sorry, left of your screen. Cerise still trying to get that going. Now, if she was sitting there looking and looked over and said, "Okay, this girl's got a roaring flame. Hell with it. I'm not going to do anymore." They could have been like, "Yo, she just gave up during what? Like, how are we going to do this? How's this gonna happen?" No, she just kept going. So I know I kind of skipped ahead, but that helped her out with the target being off of her. Like there was no one that probably went back and said, "Well, you know, she just quit," and there was none of that. So
Oh, good. Yeah. I mean, so obviously, as we can tell, the people that got picked were Sarah and Sari. I do just want to bring up Cool Saint's comment here, going, the two people with immunity should have selected the best fire-making people. I would have loved that twist as well, because then the people with immunity would have had a bit more power, not just being safe potentially. So Survivor AU producers, keep an eye on that.
Like that.
But we did see both of these players. They were so scared to do it, and I loved that in the sense of like it gave them both a chance to prove themselves. I want to get both of your moments on, like, your favorite moments from this fire making, but I do just want to both ask you, and kind of Bruce specifically, as being someone that's played and kind of been out there, what did you think of this swinging technique? I've never seen this technique. I was like, oh my God.
You know what? There's two things that I love about this. One is that I've never seen it before, and that makes so much sense to me. Like, that was you're moving your arm, like you're moving your shoulder, like your torso. You're good. You know, it's put music to it. Like, it's all good. Like, that would have been so great for production to do. But the other side is that when you stop blowing on that, and if you inhale that is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. It gets in your lungs, eyes, and it could stop. But it like with Sari, when she was doing it, she was blowing on it and she was blowing it out, because you have to like it's a certain way. You can go harder with it, or you can just go nice and slow, whatever have you. Like, you have full control over that without sucking it into your lungs. So I saw this, and please know that if Survivor US for season 51 and on, if they're watching. If they're watching the world, all the rest of the world, someone's gonna do it, and it's gonna be like, oh my god, it's so innovative. Now
We're going to be sat there like,
seen that, been there, done that. Like it's just, but I loved it. I loved that she did that. That was really cool to watch.
I think it was so cool that it was apparent that they spoke about it. Like you could tell that, like as a tribe, because I think Kirby was mostly the one that was sort of coaching Sarah through it as she was doing it. Like if I remember correctly, and I just love that because it looked ridiculous at first. Like it looked so ridiculous, but then once it caught flame, Sarah looks like such a badass. Like it was so
in her
cool.
hand,
yeah. I completely agree with you, Bruce. If anyone in 51 or 52 come on there and start doing that and people give them their praises, I am just going to stick a picture of Sarah online and be like, you give her her flowers.
That's it. Amen.
No disrespect to this person, you give that person their flowers. I do remember that she started it and then it was Kirby that was like, yes, yes, yes. So I think it could have been mentioned, but obviously
I'm sorry, if I can just touch on it a little bit. This is probably something that is done in Australia. This is more than likely like the way that fires are started because it's just so much easier. Either that or a gigantic, like palm frond or something, just kind of, going at it that way. Like this makes perfect sense when I saw this. At first I'm like, oh my God, then it's okay. The Australian tribe, like this is probably how it's done in New Zealand, Australia, Fiji. Like that's, it probably expends less energy doing it that way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw this happen, and let's just be fair. In the end, Sarah was the one to make her. I love this photo of Sarah. This has been such a hero episode for Sarah. Can I just say, like, as a stan, absolutely love it. Like, she won immunity, she won fire making. Like, go on, girl. I do have to ask, though, and I feel like Matthew will get this reference. Matthew, because obviously everything that had been happening beforehand, we'd seen that her name was out there. We saw that, the target was on her. Did this feel a bit Eileen coded?
I thought the target was mostly on Shawnee.
Yeah. Obviously, in the sense of the heat was on Sarah at the start, and then she won immunity where Eileen won immunity for her tribe. That's where I was kind of going.
Oh, I see. Well, I think that, I mean, yes, Eileen is a great example of someone who was on the bottom of their tribe who ended up really having to get out of their comfort zone in order to win an immunity and therefore guarantee their safety. I think the difference is if I remember correctly, Eileen knew going into that challenge that she was there was a big possibility of her going home if they lost. Yeah. Whereas Sarah, I don't know if she realized that her name was sort of out there in the way that it was. So I think that there are other examples that we could point to of this, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, either way, this was like Sarah's episode to me. So
it totally was Sarah's episode. It was so good.
I loved it. But obviously that does
when the wind was blowing her flame and she went to the other side of the table or whatever and pushed it over. Like that was absolutely awesome. That was, and it might not seem like a lot of people a lot of things to a casual viewer, but that flame's only going to stay for so long. Like you want that thing to stay in the middle of it. Yeah. Once that breeze starts coming through, that happened to in US Survivor.
Teeny. Was it Teeny?
Teeny, yeah. Like here's the line and here's the flame. Like it's, what are you got to do? So you got to move that thing over. And when she did that, I was like, yes, go. That's awesome.
Bruce, I'm so happy you mentioned that because that was also going back to Australia All-Stars. That's what happened with the person who won that fire making challenge as well. They had to stand in front of their flame so that the wind didn't push it. Yeah. And I think I've only ever seen one person on US Survivor figure that out. But I was so happy when the win started. I was so happy that either Sarah, they all talked about it as a tribe. Like, if that happens, this is what you need to do. I was just like, she got the fire started. She built it. I didn't want something like the wind to take that away.
Yeah. That variable, always a variable.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it didn't, and I was so happy about it because it then meant that the Australian tribe was safe and could go back to camp. But unfortunately, it did mean that the world tribe was going to tribal.
Womp womp.
Wah, wah.
Womp womp, but oh my god, because it was chaotic. I need to ask both of you right now. Shoe as a necklace. How are we feeling about this? Matthew, is this a spark or a snuff?
This was an ignite. This was an ignite because I don't know what Tony's brain is like that he was able to say, okay, immunity idol equals shoe equals put around my neck. It was so brilliantly, I don't want to say dumb because I see where he's going, but it was like, it was so head scratching is what I will say. Like it caused confusion and I appreciate it.
Oh God, absolutely, Bruce. Go for it.
The only way that it would have been a little different, it would have been a copycat if remember the Q skirt?
Q skirt.
If you would have had this is the immunity idol Q skirt. Like I got one in here, like but I looked at it and I'm like, again, I'm with you, Matthew. I'm just trying to figure out like what in the hell made him think of when I had mine was in my shoe. Like my bag was pillaged. They went through my bag to try and find it to see if I had it. And I put the parchment inside of, underneath the liner inside of my shoe. And I tucked away in the front of my shoe was where the idol was. And I'm walking around and you never knew it was there. But so when he did that, I was like, oh shoot, that's genius that you have it in your shoe because that's where I put mine. But when he wore it around his neck, I'm like, oh, Tony, here comes chaos, Tony. Here it is. And then, if we're going to talk about it, like the back and forth between him and Poverty, I hear a mom and dad fight. Like I was just like, my God.
I'll go to this. Like this was as good at like when he obviously it caused the girls to go chat, and then Tony went, did Parvati tell anyone about this? I mean, great instinct on his part, knowing that it had been found and that he could kind of try and throw the blame. Obviously, he didn't have all the info, which is why it was fortuitous for Parvati to be like, no, I can check you in this easily. But, oh my God, the back and forth that occurred here. And I think you even see in this picture, Parvati is literally looking at Tony like, stop talking. Stop trying to come for me. This was insane, Matthew. What? Just tell me your thoughts.
So much. It was almost equal part brilliant and equal part. What are you doing? Like it was so incredible. And there's a couple of things that I want to sort of touch on while we're talking about this, which I think is okay. I think that Tony swinging big and talking about Parvati opening the box. I think that it could have worked if he. Oh, sorry if you heard the cat. It could have worked if he, because I feel like he sort of backed out when he said, "Oh, she didn't tell me about it. I saw her with it." Like I feel like he, if he was to commit to this, I almost wish that he said, "No, she told me. She told me about it," and maybe plant some doubt in the Girls' Alliance as to Parvati's trustworthiness. Like I feel like he was almost there. I thought that watching Suri in the middle of this was so freaking funny because like you could tell that it was just like, again, just great TV. We'll talk about it, but yes, it was brilliant. It was dumb. I loved all of it.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm sitting here and I'm remembering this whole scenario. And I'm listening to you speak, Matthew, and I'm like, okay. The better thing for Tony to have done was to have a conversation with at least two of the women about, I know she has the key. I know she got in that box. You know what I mean? Like he did I don't want to say a rookie mistake. I don't want to say that. This is an act of desperation at this point because he knows. And if he pulled like a Rob brought that information out at the tribal council that she has friends, she was on the show, with it's you're waiting too long to divulge that information. Like, who else did you tell before you got there? Because now, Tony, if you would have said something to either one of those other two, because he's very smart, he knows what's going on, he's observant, but you can sit there and set yourself up by saying, okay, hey, I really know that she has the key to that thing, and I know this, that, and the other. Because if you feel like you're on the bottom, like, get that information out. Let Tommy know. I don't know if you let Tommy know or not, like, but let him know, like, bro, like, this is what's going on. Like, talk to your girls over there, because there's the four of them coming at us. Like, why don't you and I work together after this international US thing? This is just about winning Survivor. Like, let's figure this out. Who you close with, and then it gives you at least an additional fighting chance. But not to say Tony didn't do that from the edited show that we saw. He didn't do it. So
to add to kind of your point, Matthew, and to kind of yes and both of your points, Tony talking about the box, I think, was phenomenal. And I kind of agree with both of you in the sense of, had he committed to it and said, and like I think you said, Matthew, and say, yes, she told me, and just commit to that, because we saw, as Bruce said about Rob, where he was like, Parvati divulged this information to me. If Tony can then continue that, saying like, she told me about the key, she told me about the box, she told me that she'd opened the box, she didn't tell me what was inside of it, but she told me she'd opened the box. You've then got two instances now where Parvati has allegedly divulged information that I think could have been a lot stronger in the paranoia than just obviously like what Matthew, you said, where he had backtracked and then kind of was like, I just saw her open it. Like, I saw her with the key. That's where I think it went down. If he had kind of just sat there and gone, yeah, I saw, like, she told me about it. I know that she has the key. I know that she has most likely opened it. She hasn't told me what it is, but I know that the box has been opened. Had he done that, I think it could have been a bit more powerful and put the girls more on edge. Not to say that it didn't, because it most definitely did, because as we saw, the internationals then went and spoke. Tommy kind of told the girls what Tony had said about going for Cirie, breaking up Parvati, and Cirie. I kind of do love the storyline of all this, where it got so chaotic that in the end, the internationals really kind of did have the power in this moment. Like, Tony not necessarily gave up his power, but where he went so guns blazing, having to, you know, have his back against the wall and do whatever he could, he kind of brought Parvati with him, and then kind of, in essence, gave the internationals the power to say, like, you've got the control here. Whoever you vote for will go home. So what did we think about this before we obviously get to the vote?
Well, I think that was his best play. You know, I think that he didn't have power going into this tribal council. So I feel like to say that he kind of lost his power, I actually feel like he sort of gained a little bit by making all of this chaos happen. But I think that, considering how the vote ends up, I think what I figured out was that Tommy was never with Tony. And I think that Tommy was never with Tony. He was always, you know, with the rest of the non-US players. But it wasn't even, I don't think Tommy being the only guy left on the tribe besides Tony, like, that never played into his storyline of like, oh no, I got to figure out a reason to keep Tony. Like, I don't even think we got a confessional from Tommy being like, I really need Tony to stay. So like, I think looking back on it as a viewer, I feel like I could have figured that out a little bit earlier, but I didn't. So like, seeing this, it's so interesting to me that it's just interesting to me that I don't feel like Tommy was ever in the Tony camp.
Yeah. I fully agree with that. But one of the things also that I'm taking a look at and seeing this picture and then going back in my mind is, remember what I said earlier? The three of them grab Cirie, and here we are. So Cirie gets up, walks over. It's almost like they had arms wide open, and they said, come on in, let's chat. You know what I'm saying? So Cirie's in a great spot. The blunder that I'm seeing here, though, is, Tony, you picked a fight with someone that has immunity and necklace around her neck. So are you trying to get her voted out after you get voted out? Like, what's the deal? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to try to find the dirt on somebody else. Like throw somebody else on. Like arguing back and forth with her, it's going to create chaos and just get you voted out. Like they're not going to go after Tommy because why? He's not causing mayhem right now. So you're picking the fight again with someone that's got an immunity necklace around her neck. You now know she has an idol, and everybody knows there's a community idol. So yeah, whose mind are you trying to change at this point in time? Like there's Tommy's, but read the room. Love you, Tony.
Well, I mean, you can give Tony some more love in a sec because obviously, unfortunately, all of this goes down, and
I love this moment. So we sort of talked about, but the fact that Tony at this point was like, "Why'd you want a coconut? Why'd you go look for sticks? Why were you on Winners at War? Why'd you get cast on Survivor?" Like he was going in on every little detail of Parvati's life. It was so funny to me. And Parvati was so confused as to what any of this would accomplish. Yeah. So funny.
And look at Lisa. Look at Lisa in this picture.
I know. And I think that we even, like I talked about last week where I was like, wow, Tony's really showing me a different side of him. Like he's really cool, calm, and collected. We got to this and I was like, whoop.
Nope, one ain't that. But I mean, obviously, I guess in the end, Cass got what she wanted. Because sadly, we saw Tony go home. We saw the torch get snuffed. The 2-time champ is now gone. Boys, let's just give some flowers to Tony. How did you feel about this moment? Anything you want to say in regards? Bruce, I'm going to go to you first.
It's I'm looking at the smile in his face. It's really cool. It like gives me a little, goosebumps just to see that picture of him. I remember when I was out there. I know I always keep saying when I was out there, but the second time that I went out and I was voted out, and I was talking to the staff, and they're like, "We absolutely love second-time players because you guys come back, you don't care, you want to have a drink, it's a party, you get to chill, hang out, and that's it." And looking at that smile after obviously making everybody laugh about the sock and everything, like with the rock and sock, like all that stuff, like. It made them laugh even on his way out. Even Poverty was laughing, like because there's no ill will at that moment in time. He's trying to save his own ass and he's doing his thing, but that smile that's genuine, that's authentic. That's like, man, I tried my best and I'm going to have a beer. Like that's it. So good job, Tony. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
It seems like as someone who has made $3 million off of playing the game of Survivor, going into a season like this, knowing that, there is a high likelihood that he would be out early. Like it just makes sense. And I do love seeing that he just went out with a bang. And I appreciated that. And we didn't talk about the moment before this, which was his little bluff of what I play in immunity. I think he oversold this a little bit. But I thought this was actually really smart because if he stayed, if this worked, and if Surrey ended up going home here, he would have gone into the merge with the ideas, that he has an idol. But that being said, and I think what was smart was that he didn't wave the sock around before the vote, because I think he knew that someone got into that box. He has no idea what was in the box. He knows that someone has seen the idol potentially, so he knows what it looks like. So I think that by doing this move after was actually really brilliant. But I think he oversold it just a little bit. But I love Tony. I think that this season actually really painted a different picture of him in my mind. And he seems really chill and really, that's the wrong word. He seems like a really fun person to be around. So that's why.
No, definitely. I mean, look, he came in already as a 2-time champ. He had already cemented his legacy before he got into the season. He just added to his legacy, if anything. So Tony, just well done. And I'm so excited about it. I will say before we finish though, we have to remember that, someone cheekily quickly found that idol in the pedestal in the podium. So we do just want to remind people that Parvati did go get that, as Bruce has been saying, the community idol. I do just want to hope that she got her shoes back, though.
Notice it right there, people. You see him? You see him right there?
Yeah, they're
the
dangling.
shoes. They're the shoes.
She left her shoes. That was my main concern after all this. But obviously, Parvati does have now that idol that is not so secret. You know, the girls at any point can go, she's got that. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen in that regard. But I think we're gonna take it slow now. We've gotten to the end of our proceedings. So I do just want to say thank you so much for joining me today, boys, and talking about this episode. And thank you to everyone that has been in the chat talking. We appreciate it. I guess I've got to do just a little spiel before we end, just letting you know what's going on. Just a reminder that we have got our Survivor 49 coverage coming up soon, as well as two series that has been happening. Pride in the Tribe, where we were celebrating the month of June and Pride and seeing all of that happening. And as well, Babes and Buffs, which will be airing its finale this week. Keep an eye out for that, for a very special guest joining us for the finale. And also just a reminder, we have a Patreon. So if you want to get your name on this little board at the side, please go subscribe to our Patreon. We've got revisits. We have got exit interviews. It is a fun time over there. And obviously, because we've been talking about Survivor AU and the person that's been voted out, make sure to check out our exclusive interview with Tony. We will be sitting down with him and getting all of his thoughts. That will be coming out tomorrow. So just keep an eye on that video to come out. And finally, just a reminder, we will be back Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern for all you Australians. That is 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, where we may be joined by, a certain witch from a coven. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. But we will have an extra special guest joining us. But that is it for us today. Once again, boys, thank you so much for joining. Any last thoughts before we stop?
If anything, I'm really looking forward to the next episode. I'm looking forward to the next episode because I would love to see Poverty say, "Oh, JLP told me I had to get out of there. I took too long and I couldn't find it." That would be amazing.
I didn't even consider that would be something that she might do. That would be pretty cool.
That would be amazing.
I want a merge. I want to merge. Let's make this merge happen. So I'm looking forward to the next few episodes.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow's episode. I can't wait to see all the shenanigans that's going to go down, and I can't wait to talk about them with you lot. But we will see you guys again for Survivor Australia, AU versus the World, Episode 5 recap. We will see you then.